The monastic model of innovation begins with the realization that the most fundamental quotidian, daily life, mundane aspects of our lives, things that have not been changed or improved or upgraded in 8,000 years, 4,000 years, 2,000 years, often were created by monastic organizations. The job, for example, this dysfunctional mania for torturing people with doing the same thing from Monday to Friday afternoon all week long, is an utterly stupid idea, lazy mental idea, invented in the West by Benedictine monks, they say, on the coast of Spain about 1,200 years ago, and invented in the Rinzai Zen monasteries of Japan, the Japanese management style, about 800 years ago in Muromachi-era Japan. The Japanese way of work involves everybody spying on everyone because there are no walls, so social pressure can turn the workplace into a dictatorship because Japanese will only work hard when spied on. The American way, the Western way, is the panopticon with a watchtower of some supervisor spying on you, even though the watchtower has one-way mirrors so that you don't really know whether anyone's inside or not, so you feel watched even when you're not watched. Both ways have defined the job as a way to force people to make rich people richer by spying on each other. Fundamental disgusting. And the idea of doing one job for years, the same job day after day, is a disgusting, dumb, dehumanizing, idiotic idea. It's enormously better to do 2 jobs every week, or even 9 jobs a week. I worked in a monastic organization that had 9 different jobs a week. One job from 5 in the morning until 9 in the morning, one job from 9 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, one job from 5 till 11 at night, so 3 jobs a day, shared on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday and Friday were 3 different jobs those times, and then Saturday, Sunday were 3 different jobs. So you had 9 kinds of time in the week, 9 different jobs in a week. That's humane and smart. That's monastic in a model of innovation. Now, my own personal career in innovation has been very monastic in that I look at equally fundamental interfaces, 5 cognitive interfaces, 5 social interfaces, 5 group interfaces to change. The 5 cognitive interfaces I'll describe in this short video, and I've actually changed them. In MIT as an undergraduate in 1966, 1967, wrote a 250-page book on it called Structural Cognition, and then these are 5 out of the dozens of methods in that book. I really literally studied who the best people were at MIT and Harvard, what made them best in terms of thinking, and then found this structure, operating on structures of thought instead of individual thoughts going on, and wrote a book on it. And then these are 5 basic interfaces that you can change, and if you do, it ends up multiplying your daily productivity by typically 80 times the level of productivity of the people around you. Number 1, replace meetings with scientific rules of order. And this is just a matter of following a procedure that I've designed of allowing every meeting to have everybody in the meeting lead a different topic and a different treatment of a topic in the meeting. And each treatment of a topic has an aimed for output in a certain format for a certain customer to be done in a certain time during the meeting by an actual treatment. So the people agree on what the topics of the meetings are, then they agree on how each topic should be treated in the meeting, then they appoint someone in the meeting to lead the application of that treatment to that topic, etc. Then I have what's called replacing discussions with stratified respondings. And this is simply a matter of not letting anybody tell you their interpretation and before you get each person to tell you what they noticed about something. And then you get each person to tell you how they felt at that noticing. And then you get each person to tell you how they segmented what they noticed. And then you get each person to tell you what they felt at each segment. And then you get each person to tell you what they were reminded of in each segment. And then what interpretive framework they brought to bear on each segment. And then what interpretation or meaning they got from each segment. And then what they are more or less likely to do or think because of experiencing the whole experience. And you do that for each person, all of the people, before you move to the next level. It's called stratified responding. And it shows everyone the drastic extent to which their individual experience of something is not everybody else's experience. It's an amazing thing. Then you replace processes and courses with events. So instead of doing work in work processes, you do them in intense, highly structured events. Instead of doing classes, you have invent events and research events, where in 2 days, 15 students create a 700-page book based on interviews of all the top people in the world in a topic area. Now, I've done this at Procter & Gamble 40 years ago, was amazed by it as a management technique, and then I've generalized it and perfected it on my own. And so I've got these invent events, I've got research events, I've got customer contact events, I've got decision-making events, and each of them is based on expert procedures done intensely by anywhere from 15 to 200 people to 2,000 people over a 2 or 3 day period. You have parallel workshop teams, each using a different method or protocol, and their partial results combined to make an impressive overall result. That's replacing processes or courses with events, and events are a faster, more visible way to get work done. Finally, I do semi-finally, penultimately, I talk about replacing brainstorms with social design automata. Social design brainstorms have two big problems. They focus too early on the first semi-popular topic with a faction in the meeting, and then they elaborate that in great detail, and they don't get to alternatives to it. Then I replace brainstorms with social design automata, which samples a possibility space more broadly, and not with partial discussions, but with actual completed designs. And so you get the whole possibility space sampled with completed designs, and then you can use that, organize those completed designs by categories into abstract dimensions of difference, interpolate and extrapolate new dimensions of difference, then create a design using those new dimensions that will be beyond all of your own past thinking. It's a way to thoroughly get beyond yourself all the time, rather than brainstorms where you often get just inside yourself. Also, social design automata, the real work begins when you run out of ideas you already have, and you have to create new ideas from an empty, demoralized brain. That's actual creativity, whereas brainstorms normally are just getting favorite little ideas out into the open that you haven't expressed to other people before. And they're often too well-traveled and too dated a part of your past to be really innovative. Then finally, the biggie is replacing prose text with a new way of writing and a new way of reading called Fractal Page Forms. Prose, if you look at 2 pages of a book, you'll see lots of string sentences and paragraphs, no idea how many topics on the page, no idea what their names are, no idea how they're ordered. It's visually hidden. It's actually encoded. And in fact, we test smartness by, can you find the points in a passage of text? And if you can, you go to Harvard. So you go to the best universities in the world if you can handle this interface. Now, that's a really stupid interface if the only people in the world who handle it well end up going to Harvard. So you want an interface where everybody in the world can handle it. Everybody in the world can find the points. Everybody in the world knows how many points. Everybody in the world can see the names of the points. Everybody in the world can see how they're ordered. That would be a good writing interface. We don't have it. But I've written it. I've invented it. It's called Fractal Page Forms. You can take a look at them on my webpage sites, and they vastly outperform prose in terms of being applicable and recallable, and in terms of being more diverse, more comprehensive, and more detailed at the same time. So I replace my meetings with scientific rules of order. I replace my discussions with stratified responding. I replace my processes and courses with research events. And I replace brainstorms with social design automata, and I replace prose reading and writing of text with reading and writing of fractal page forms. My students are building a new word processor for that new way of reading and writing. Now, you change these parts of your daily life, and you will be 80 to 150, 200 times more productive than the people around you. And I've done it. My students have done it. It works. It works in Japan. It works in China. It works in Europe with TU Delft and ETH. It works. And all you need to do is pay attention, go buy my books, and do what they say.